hit the city. I hit the city.
Drums are pounding at this point. It's almost, you can imagine Mo Tucker from the Velvet Underground with hammers. It's really clear that this just seems about destruction. Yeah, I would be very wary about hitting the city with him.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Into the Music. My name is Greg, and that guy is actually spending a very late night, right? This is like 6 o'clock here. What time is it over there? 11? 11:30?
It's nearly 10 past 11
And,
GMT.
and this guy over here, I said, hey, I want you to get on tonight because there's something I want to give you. That sounds so bad. And he's like,
I just got over the last one.
He's like, well, thank God it's Zoom. So, I mean, how much, what can he give me? That's going to be. So thank you so much for jumping on so quickly. But now I think you know, kind of, right? I'm going to give you another Mark Lanegan song. And so folks like, cool. What? Well, I'm going to drop this on the same day that I'm going to drop Wedding Dress by Mark Lanegan. Okay, so go check that out. And within that video, we talk about Mark passing away. He just passed away last night at the very young age of 57, which is very close to my age. And maybe I'm sure maybe close to yours too. And it's a shame. Great talent. Someone that I wanted to get into really deeply, and I still can, thank God, right? The music, right? The person goes on, passes on, and what they leave, the art, is
that's
still
their legacy,
there.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, it's right for the picking. So, so go check out Wedding Dress. And so I thought that I would actually give you another Mark Lanegan song. And it just so happens that song and this one, both from the same album that I think you have. I just discovered that on that other reaction that you have this. Bubblegum, I think is the name of the album.
Yeah.
So Hit the City. Now, this was the first Mark Lanegan song that I discovered within the last year that sort of made me realize this guy from Screaming Trees still has a career. I just didn't know. And this was a song before Wedding Dress. Wedding Dress came like later on, I guess because YouTube's like, well, if you like Hit the City, you're going to like Wedding Dress. And wow, I was like, whoa, I couldn't stop playing this. I couldn't stop playing the song. So I got a feeling you know this song.
Yes.
I'm hoping I haven't heard it in a long time now.
No, I haven't. I mean, I had Bubblegum on CD. And as I think I've told you before, I boxed up all my CDs and put them in the loft about 2-3 years ago. So now the only music I listen to is either digitally streaming or the vinyl. And I don't have that on vinyl. And so it's easy to forget what you do have. And so I haven't listened to this in a while.
So here we go. Hit the City. I sent you the link. Go check it out. And let me know what you think about it second time around.
Will do.
Dark descends through the promised land. Down kingdom come and the exit there. Babylon burned in, side out, nothing to carry. I hit the city.
Okay, when it starts off, it's pretty full on, and with the rising organ and background vocals, it could almost be uplifting. But the lyrics straight away show there's trouble at mill. I mean, the first thing he says is the dark descends. So we know we're in for a fun night. He sounds amazing. PJ Harvey sounds amazing too. And her voices blend really well. And that bass is awesome. Okay, I'm going to take it back just a touch.
Babylon burning, side out, nothing to kill it. I hit the city. In Marianne, I dug that hole. I watched the trip on my heart soul. My skin, I couldn't kill it. I hit the city. I hit the city.
The guitar sounds almost afraid to speak. The drums are pounding at this point. It's almost like you can imagine Mo Tucker from the Velvet Underground with hammers. It's really clear that this just seems about destruction. Yeah, I would be very wary about hitting the city with him. I'll bring it back just a bit for that farty guitar.
Those arrives at his burial. To the promised land in the dark descends. Babylon burning, side out, nothing to kill it. I hit the city. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. I hit the city.
Hey, you're back.
Oh, not here again.
So, what'd you think?
Yeah, it's another great song. As I was listening to it, I started to remember a bit more about Bubblegum. It sort of brought it back. I would say not to knock this song at all, but I think Wedding Dress, and particularly that live version that we discussed earlier, would have really stood out for me. But this, I remember at the time, was a minor hit in the UK. It barely dented the charts, you know, in the top sort of 60s or 70s, you know. But in terms of the sort of indie underground scene, it was a fairly big hit, and you know that it really brought him to the front. And it's a great song. It's strange listening to it again. I didn't have any memories of it at all until it started playing. It starts off, and with the sort of there's a real driving sound to it, and with the sort of the organ uplifting and with the background vocals sort of ascending as well, it could almost be like an uplifting sort of tune. And then
Right.
as soon as the lyrics kick in, you know that it isn't an uplifting song at all.
No.
I mean, it's another, you know, Mark's cheery outlook on life, you know. It's a real proper.
Well, that first line, the dark descends through the promised land. Down kingdom come and the acid ban. I'm Babylon, burned inside out, nothing to kill it. I hit the city. I mean,
yeah. I think I said in the reaction that, you know, there's trouble at the mill. You know, it's not going to be a good evening.
Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean, he sounds, his voice sounds great. It's a slightly sort of mid-range for him, but he still sounds good. PJ Harvey sounds amazing, as she always does. But I think the two voices together blend really well. It gives that sort of light and shade as you're going through, and you know the timings aren't always together, you know, so you get this overlapping, and it really gives a nice contrast to the vocal melody. I really liked it.
I think the genius in this song is when they split, as you're kind of alluding to. They split where he's singing the lines in the verses. So like in this first one, the dark descends through the promised land, down kingdom come and the acid ban. And PJ is singing, right? Is kind of doing this high pitched kind of repeating of that, and a little separated, a little distant. So you just get that dissonant sort of thing, right? And then when he goes, I'm Babylon, burned inside out, right? She starts to go, ah, right? She starts to just do this ah thing, I think, right? And lifts this thing up. So she's going up there. I think that's just brilliant. It's and the music somehow, like it turns its attention to what Harvey's doing. It's like, I don't know, I can't even explain it right, but it just you just have this sort of shifting sort of patterns, you know, in the song, and it works, you know. And like, how the hell did they come up? They must, how do you, from just its inception, you know, with the guitar or piano, and say, hey, I got an idea, and then you play it, and then you have all these sort of, you know, into and sort of, you know, pathways that within the song, you know, vocals are going and the instrument, and it just, how does that all come to be, and it makes sense? I don't know. That's the big mystery, you know, of a lot of songs, and including this one. I love it. Because I make a big deal about that, because that's what actually got me about the song. I remember that part, and then they do it again. They do it in the second verse when, you know, in Marianne, I dug a hole and watched her trip on my hollow soul, and in the end, all that crawled. I think as he's singing that line, she starts doing that kind of like from the bottom depths going up, you know, all that crawled was my skin. I couldn't kill it. And then they both together said, I hit the city, right? I hit the city. He goes, I hit the city. She's like, I hit the city. Oh my God. I mean, it's like, I can't wait for that part. It lifts me, it brings me up. It's, I don't know. Yeah. It's the beauty
It's
of
weird
it,
because it's quite an adrenaline song, and you kind of get lost in the two of them sort of soaring away. And it's only, I noticed the music at the start, and then the music just kind of is a platform for them,
right?
And it kind of fades from the fore, and then when it breaks down, and you get, and I did make a note of this in the reaction, this sort of half-assed guitar solo. I said at the time, it sounds like the guitar is scared to speak. It's like me. Yeah. You know? But then while he's doing that and he's sort of squeaking away, I really felt the drums. They were like pounding, relentless, and you know, this sense of foreboding. And all the way through, I forgot to say, all the way through, the bass is amazing. It's really creative bass that's taken a lot of the melody. Outstanding bass, I thought. And then the imagery is getting more and more, again, all I picked up from this was destruction, whether it's self-destruction or he's going to burn the city down. Babylon stands for a lot of things, obviously, within sort of, symbolism in literature. But yeah, real foreboding, and this guy is destruction, and you know, I pity someone who's going for a night out with him.
Well,
Really
he's talking about in that second verse that he's digging a hole for this girl, right? He's watching her trip. He's watching her trip on his hollow soul, right? And in the end, all that crawled was his skin, and yet he couldn't kill it. So he hits the city, right? And who knows what damage he's going to do, you know, by hitting the city. And then this other verse here, ghost arrives at its bitter end to the promised land, and the dark descends. I mean, all that said, and all the darkness, you know, I mean, I think I could speak on your behalf and say that I think John and I recognize these as just great lyrics, though. I mean, it makes you think. I mean, these were written with some, you know, no amateur wrote this, you know, someone who really wants to get really deep and dark and expressive, you know, and do it in a very kind of poetic and very thinking way, you know. Holy crap, you know, very schooled. I mean, I didn't realize if Mark really wrote these songs, I didn't realize how great of a songwriter he was. With Wedding Dress and this, they're great. They're great.
They are. I mean, it's the power of, I mean, lyrics could be many things. They can be almost documentary, or they can be pure poetry. And again, you get different forms of poetry. You know, for someone like Dylan, there's no question that a lot of his lyrics are poetic, but they are a very different style. But it's the imagery laden lyrics that have not one or two, but maybe three or four meanings that are so rich. And that's the beauty of it, because I think I said before, once the guy's finished his song, his book, his poem, his painting, and handed it out to the world, then they've not any good control over what it means anymore, because different people sitting around listening, it will mean, oh, that's about my dead girlfriend, or that's about my relationship.
Exactly. It no longer belongs to them. It belongs to me and you and everyone else.
And that is art. That is the essence of art. And the great thing is that all of those points of view are valid because they're valid to you. And that is the string theory of art appreciation. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Hey, you know what? I am going to steal an adrenaline song. I never actually identified a song like that before. I love that. I'm going to steal that line. Okay. So next reaction when
you've got a magpie's nest of these phrases, haven't you, at the back of your house?
You get no royalties with this. All right. So I'm just letting you know. Sue me. Hey man, I'm so glad you jumped on so late to do this. I really am.
My pleasure.
Yeah, cool. So John and I both are happy that all of you jumped on this, no matter what time. It could be 3:30 in the morning right now, depending on where you live. 3:30 in the morning. Thank you so much. I might ask why. Why are you up? Go to sleep.
Thank you for you and your weak bladder. You know,
it's
keeping you awake at 3 a.m. Thank you so much.
or some other things too, which we hope you're okay. We actually do hope you're okay, and we hope the song made you feel better. You know, because it's a great song. And so even though Mark is gone, and I'm actually being serious now that he's gone, and yet again we talked about it. He leaves great work, and there's more Mark Lanegan stuff that I want to really dive into, and maybe have you do more, or maybe have Phil and Andy join in the fun. As long as, like, you know, Phil's like, oh, you know, I gave it a shot. It's okay. I'd be like, it's more than okay.
Well, at least you know you'll get the real deal from him. You know, you'll get what he thinks.
Phil's watching right now. Phil's like, no, Phil, that means that your bar is really high. Okay. So, you know, and that says a lot. So there you go. So John, thanks a lot again. Everyone out there, thank you so much. And we hope to see every one of you on the next episode of Into the Music.